I lived through this. I was deported twice to my country when I was only 19 years old.
It's a very scary time with this new administration.
No, people are scared, man. I mean, people are like, oh, we're gonna have to go back.
We're the only country in the world that does this with birthright.
With all their belongings. In recent weeks, Texas has taken center stage as the United States doubles down on deporting undocumented immigrants with criminal histories. Multiple flights carrying individuals seen as threats have lifted off from the Lone Star State, signaling a fierce effort by both federal and state officials to tackle illegal immigration and protect public safety. This push lines up perfectly with the Trump administration's renewed mission to lock down the border and remove those considered risks to American communities. It's a joint operation, with U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement working hand in hand with the Texas Department of Public Safety and other federal agencies. These flights are homing in on undocumented people with serious records, including members of brutal gangs like MS-13 and others wanted for heavy crimes like murder, child sexual assault, and drug trafficking. One standout case involved a man tied to MS-13, deported 6 times before, who was picked up in Texas on February 26, 2025, after allegedly taking a Houston man's life. That arrest came as part of a broader sting, highlighting the focus on clearing out dangerous figures. Houston has seen some major action. A sweeping law enforcement operation in Plum Grove nabbed nearly 120 illegal immigrants, including that MS-13 suspect. Border czar Tom Homan, a big name in Trump's immigration playbook, told Fox News the raid targeted a criminal network linked to the Colony Ridge area. He made it clear the priority is on lawbreakers and national security concerns, though he added that anyone in the country illegally is still fair game for deportation. Just a day earlier, on February 25, another Houston bust led by Homeland Security Investigations and Texas DPS caught around 90 undocumented folks, with several pegged as child sexual predators.
Secretary Noam said, and I quote,
Atlanta, and Miami. The federal agents are focusing on...
The scope of this effort is hard to overstate. On February 10, 2 planes sent by Venezuela took off from El Paso, carrying nearly 200 deportees back to their homeland. Reports also point to flights heading to Guantanamo Bay, where the administration aims to stash up to 30,000 before their final exit. Military aircraft, like Air Force C-17S, have been in the mix too, with one flight hauling 104 Indian nationals from Texas to Amritsar on February 5. Indian officials raised a stink about how the deportees were handled during the 18-hour trip, stirring up some backlash overseas. Texas Governor Greg Abbott is a loud champion of these moves, challenging a federal ruling that blocked a state law letting local authorities arrest and deport illegal immigrants. His Operation Lone Star has racked up over 500,000 apprehensions and more than 50,000 criminal arrests since it kicked off. The state's National Guard base along the Texas-Mexico border has been a key piece of the puzzle, showing a wider plan to lock down the frontier and boot out lawbreakers.
She added that ICE arrest over 20...
along with planes and helicopters in...
People are split on this. Fans say getting rid of criminals makes everyone safer, with posts on X calling the flights a wake-up call for others not to try crossing. One user suggested sharing it worldwide to stop people from ending up on a plane back home. Critics, though, argue it's too harsh, pointing to a Texas man named Josie who got detained despite no record, fueling fears that innocent folks might get tangled up in the net. As more flights roll out from Texas, the immigration fight keeps raging. For now, the state's a vital hub in the drive to keep America secure, one departure at a time.
Tenemos nosotros directa con el gobierno mexicano. Nosotros hemos logrado rápidamente que el avión de confianza.
Thousands of migrants trying to get
Legal cross-border traffic here at the crossing continues.
Hearing along the southern border. 2 Osprey.
people heading to work. Also,
vaya y seguramente hará otros viajes para seguir trayendo venezolanos.
she says she understands the pressure around
Que tenga allá y a familias enteras.
so in the traffic.
Most of the arrests appear to be suspected criminals.
Heading to Mexico.
Y me dijo, no puedo más, no estoy trabajando, no estoy haciendo nada.
as promised by President Donald Trump.
East border volunteer who has been
There's not space to house them all. That's where Guantanamo Bay comes in. It was a notorious
as a Tucson base.
The mobile app set up by the Biden administration to gain asylum.
Kids going to school.
In a show of force.
On their American dream.
After declaring a national.
Until now, the overall mood has changed.
And refugee admissions into
been happening here regularly since June.
To babies born on U.S. soil to undocumented.
Deportations have been
no longer works.
Rodriguez.
To make it warm.
She's had everyone to remember new policies have a human impact.
Part of the president's hardline immigration actions.
It's ridiculous.
Trump's order
obviously will appeal it.
Perry Russum, ABC News, Washington.
The country halted indefinitely.
Administration with a smaller subset of arrests under another. Jason Hauser, a former chief of staff at ICE under the Biden administration,
has been taken into custody along with his right-hand man, Chris.
Administration said Secretary Noem was comparing apples to coconuts to exaggerate the number of arrests. Along with the slow arrest, deportations of illegal migrants are.
Mahia Cha. A third, Jose.
The White House says the crackdown has already begun.
Paxter Islaha is being held in Oklahoma, and they're still searching for a fugitive.
Also taking longer than promised by the Trump.
Smuggling thousands of people from Central America into the United States.
El Paso, Texas, headed for Guatemala.
They allowed people to come in at levels that nobody's ever seen before. It was ridiculous.
Federal agents in Edinburgh, Texas, allowed David Begnaud inside a home.
Action to overturn a century-old
home during a raid of smuggled undocumented immigrants. David, good.
Nearly 24 law enforcement agents
cannot write the 14th Amendment out of existence. Donald Trump's first defeat in the first days.
surrounded this suburban Texas home early Wednesday morning.
Of his presidency. Joy Melvin, CTV News, Washington.
The deputy chief was just told that there's about 40 people inside. It's exactly what they had been told.
Restaurant owner claims agents took 3 employees into custody.
Inside, 62 undocumented immigrants.
After they were unable to show documentation.
Mostly from Central America. And Border Patrol says they were brought here by a smuggler.
Now it's in this base that President Trump says illegal.
From the kitchen, it's clear that there was food being made, plates, a lot of flour.
Immigrants arrested in America will be sent.
We have 30,000 beds in Guantanamo.
Place, but every inch of tile in this house had someone sitting on it.
22 states sued. Parents, but if
immigration authorities are making more arrests per day.
Arguing the president with a stroke of a pen.
Day on average than they did under President Biden. Data
have been left in limbo.
Yeah, it's got a passenger manifest.
Shows that ICE arrests have still not kept up.
Yeah, we got the manifest. Now we can start with
Initially, the Trump administration announced daily ICE arrests stood at over 1,000 per day.
Where agents may ask people.
Trump administration.
This is pretty much what we have, right? Yeah. The 40 Honda, the 19 L-Stops.
For identification when they're conducting field work.
The 7 L-Stops also to the front, but those are families. And then
February, these numbers diminished. Recent data shows less than 600 arrests were made per.
40 Hondas, we can send one to the back. As long as you guys have a CBP in the back.
4 people have been indicted not for just smuggling, but alleged heinous.
Trump signed an executive act
with the goal set by the Trump administration.
rings in the United States.
3 people are in custody. 1 is on the run, accused of...
Immigration experts are now scrutinizing
States. KTLA's Jennifer McGraw has the details.
Secretary Noam's data saying that
his crimes on undocumented immigrants.
That the math is misleading because she's
in repelling the invasion. It was really an invasion.
Because somebody is so desperate to get out that they're willing to call the police and law enforcement.
4 long years.
The Trump administration expanded.
You know what the detainees? This is 1, that's 40, then we got 1.
That's how we were able to uncover some of these stash houses.
And then a processing center in McAllen, Texas.
A criminal group that acted with callous.
Comparing total ICE arrests under the current.
The ringleader, Eduardo Domingo Renojo Matul, who has several different
with her sister, says she
Helmer Obispo Hernandez.
been in the house for 15 days.
Because we don't want them coming back, so we're going to send them out to Guantanamo.
Every person was given a clear bag for their belongings.
This will double our capacity immediately, right? And
then patted down inside the house. They were
tough. That's a tough place to get out of.
Led outside, hands behind.
That nobody's ever seen before. It was ridiculous.
And their headed to a bus.